Shalom and greetings in the name of Yahwah. Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name, singular tense, none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. Ladies of the United States and other nations that might tune in, this program is dedicated to us. I have 8 fingers and 2 thumbs pointed back in my direction, and as I teach you, I keep myself in remembrance of the boundaries of obedience that I must abide. I'm going to be talking and sharing on a subject that I don't think I've ever taught on, just maybe touched on here and there. And for the last 2 days and 3 or 4 days, I've been seeing scenarios and things and stuff, and anyway, Abba's been dealing with me about this word, and he did it again this morning in my prayer time. I started the study yesterday and discarded it, and Abba brought it again before me this morning. So, Yahweh, if any good comes out of this, it's all your fault. Alright, we're going to talk about the word divorce. But first I want to establish a little groundwork, alright? Let's establish our position as women. Titus 2 and 3, the aged women, that would be me, the gray-haired old lady. Likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. And what are they to teach? It says that what do the aged women teach? They teach that they may teach the young women to be sober. That means hold to your duty, ladies. Hold to your duties, that they may be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of Elohim be not blasphemed. And then we get into the verse where we all know, in Ephesians 5 and 33, every woman wants to throw this up, but word says, for reading the word's sake, not instructing men, because that's not my job. It says, nevertheless, let every one of you in particular, now of course we know that this is the apostle speaking to the men. He says, nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, female gender, as himself, male gender, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. Now, I had a reason for reading that. As women have a large responsibility. And for those of you that have listened to any of my programming, in the Hebrew, the word mother goes back to the Hebrew root word aim, or m, goes back to a glue substance that comes from the hides of animals. Thus, the mother is the glue that holds the family together. Alright, let's talk about this word divorce. We know it takes 2 to make a marriage, do we not? Yes. And the woman has a large responsibility to submit and obey her husband in everything. Now, I'm not talking about the filthy, nasty things that are against Yahweh's word. I'm not talking about that. We, as women, do not succumb to sin and transgression. We do not, if our husband asks us to directly sin, go against Yahweh's word, this is where the buck stops. This is where we have a higher authority. We have a first love husband, and that's Yahweh Almighty, and we live his word. But the way that we handle it might be another question. All right, let's talk about this word divorce a little bit. Divorce is found in the King James Version 11 times. However, it's found in the Complete Jewish Bible 27 times. The meaning of divorce is dismissal, or it repeats divorce or divorcement. However, catch this, ladies. There is a primitive root word in the word divorce. And it's the Hebrew root word karat. Karat. So this Hebrew root word karat, coming from karatut, which is the word for divorce. Karatut is the word for divorce. The root word is karat. And it gets into something a whole lot more meaningful about this word divorce. And it means to cut off, cut down, cut off a body part. Now I want you to keep in mind this Hebrew root word, karat. This is a horrific thing. It gets into eliminate, to kill, to cut a covenant with. It gets into cutting off again, to be cut down, to be chewed up, to fail, to be cut down, to destroy, to take away, to permit, to perish, cut down, fail, destroy, karat, divorce. Divorce. This word should never come from a husband and wife's lips unless there is a cause, a scriptural cause for divorce. Not this, we don't love each other anymore. Well, you sure thought a lot of him when you married him and you took out his name. But after the honeymoon is over, it's time to buckle down and be responsible. It's not playing house and cooking and cleaning. It's all about nurturing and taking care of your husband. It's all about abiding in your place as a woman, doing all that you know to do, and sticking with it. Aim, mother, the glue that holds the family together. It's going to get into some more stuff here too when I get on down through this. This was really an excellent study. We're talking about divorce. The Hebrew root word karat, to kill, to destroy, to punish. From what I have seen in the nearly, I'll be 61 soon, 61 years of my life, divorce seems to be a never-ending funeral. So let's kind of look into the word and see what all this is about. This word divorce. The first time you find the word divorce is found in Jeremiah. I'll be reading from a complete Jewish Bible and a King James Version. By the way, for those of you who have written and asking for a complete Jewish Bible or the KJV, we do not mail out such things. All right, back to divorce, back to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 3:8 from the King James Version. It says, "And I saw, when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorcement. Yet her treacherous sister Yehuda, or some say Judah, feared not, but went and played the harlot also." The complete Jewish Bible reads, "I saw that even though backsliding Yisrael had committed adultery, so that I had sent her away and given her a divorce document, unfaithful Yehuda, her sister, was not moved to fear. Instead, she too went and prostituted herself." Now, we see that a bill of divorcement was given. That means that a marriage contract had to be there to start with, right? Right. In the Hebrew mindset, I don't know if they still do it now, but at the time of Miriam and Joseph, or some say Mary and Joseph, they were espoused. Espoused was an engagement. And they had a binding document of engagement. It was a binding document as if they were married, but they did not come together. This was a period of a year where this espoused husband would prepare a place and a household for his wife. But they never came together as husband and wife. And of course, you know the story how that Miriam had conceived by the Holy Spirit, and Yosef, or Joseph, her husband, was willing to put her away with a bill of divorcement. So even an engaged person back then had a binding marriage contract. Now people just live together. No responsibility. This is irresponsible. It's a scriptural principle to have a documented marriage. It's not necessarily a scriptural principle for divorce unless there is adultery involved. And in this case, where we read in Jeremiah or Jeremiah that Yahweh gave Yisrael, because she was backslid in adultery, he gave her a bill of divorcement. Again, a document was given when one was divorced. A document is given for marriage. So let's look at some more verses here about divorce. All right, now a high priest in the temple could only marry a virgin. So with that said, let's read Leviticus 21 and 14. It says, a widow or a divorced woman, or profane, or harlot, these shall he not take, but he shall take a virgin of his own people to wife. Leviticus 22 and 13. We're talking about the word divorce. We're reading some verses concerning divorce, divorcement, or divorced. Leviticus 22 and 13 reads, but if the priest's daughter be a widow or divorced and have no child, and is returned unto her father's house as in her youth, she shall eat of her father's meat, but there shall no stranger eat thereof. All right, Numbers 30 and 9. Using the word divorce, divorced, divorcement. Numbers 30 and 9 says, but every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. So, a divorced woman, she vows a vow, she's got to stick with it. All right, let's get into the new blood covenant. Let's read some verses in the new blood covenant concerning divorce, divorcement, or divorced. Matthew 5 and 32 from the King James Version reads, but I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committeth adultery. Complete Jewish Bible reads, but I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except on the ground of fornication, makes her an adulteress, and that anyone who marries a divorcee commits adultery. Alright, what does fornication mean? Alright, have you ever looked it up? What does fornication include? Some of you are probably not going to like this, but I didn't write this. This is the Holy Scriptures. These are the writings of the New Blood Covenant. This is the word of Yahweh that no one wants to hear. So I'm not talking to you if you don't want to hear it. You got control of the knob, just turn it off. But those of you that want to keep your marriage together and you've got hope somewhere, I'm reaching for you. Because the only one that can help you is Yahweh Almighty. If you're stooped so low in sin, there is a God in heaven whose only name is Yahweh, who became flesh Yahweh, who can deliver you from all your junk that torments you. Alright, what is the meaning of fornication? The meanings are illicit sexual intercourse, adultery, gets into homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse with animals, sexual intercourse with close relatives, sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman. The worship of idols can be fornication. So if you're worshiping any other one than Yahweh, you better check into it, because you are committing fornication. I didn't write this. This is Hebrew meanings from Hebrew words. Alright, it gets into the defilement of idolatry as incurred by eating the sacrifices offered to idols. Alright, again, Matthew 5:32, that whosoever shall put away his wife, female gender, that means male and female. We're talking about man and wife, as it was in the beginning, the way Yahweh created it, in the perfect tense. Alright? That whosoever shall put away his wife, female gender, saving for the cause of fornication, we read what that means, causeth her to commit adultery. So what does adultery mean? It's very simple. To have unlawful intercourse with another's wife. To commit adultery. It just repeats itself. Alright, let's read some more verses about divorce. Deuteronomy 24:1. When a man hath taken a wife, and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. This word uncleanness gets into exactly that. Something that is of fornication, something that is adulterous, something that is idolatrous and evil. Deuteronomy 24:2. And when she departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. All right, let me start this again. Let me start this reading again. I'm going to read Deuteronomy 24:1 down through about verse 4. Again, Deuteronomy 24:1 says, when a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her. And we just discussed what uncleanness was. Then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. In other words, the man has divorced you, ladies. The thought continues in verse 2. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. Now we do find where if a wife leaves her husband, you don't find this saying that about her. She's got to remain married to her husband or be reconciled to him. But if he divorces you, she may go and be another man's wife. If he divorces you, ladies, you may be another man's wife. Reading on Deuteronomy 24:3. And says, if the latter husband hate her, that means if her husband put her away, she was free to remarry. Now, if you go away and you leave, you don't have a right to a husband, because you were the one that left. And that's in the New Blood Covenant as well. So if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife, after that she is defiled, for that is abomination before Yahweh, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance. Got it? That's Yahweh's word. Alright, let's read some more in the New Blood Covenant about divorce, divorced, and divorcement. Matthew 5:31 says, it hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a, notice it says him, for you that don't know any better. Let me restart it over. Matthew 5:31. It hath been said, whosoever shall put away his, male, tense, wife, female gender, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. Matthew 19:3, still reading about divorce, divorcing, and divorcement. That cutting, that killing word. That's what divorce was. It means to be cut off, to kill, to destroy. That's what you do when you divorce, according to the Hebrew root word divorce. Back to Matthew 19:3. The King James Version reads, the Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? And he said, For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore Elohim hath joined together, let not man put asunder. They said unto him, Why did Moshe then command to give a writing of a divorcement and put her away? He saith unto them, Moshe, he said, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. From the beginning it was not so. Notice, for the hardness of their heart, they put their wife away, not for adultery, not for fornication, but for foolish, penny-ante, weak excuses. The reading goes on. Again, Matthew 19:8, I'm going to read it again. He saith unto them, Moshe, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you. Because of the hardness of your hearts, he suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her which is put away, doth commit adultery. His disciples say unto him, If the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. It's just not good to marry. But he said unto them, unto the disciples, All men cannot receive this saying, save they whom it is given. In other words, ladies, men have to have a wife. Alright? They don't need to be out whoremongering around. They marry to keep from burning in their lust. And if you, as a wife, do not own up to your responsibility in submitting to your husband in everything, you might just be the one that's causing him to commit adultery or fornication. Just because you get mad and lose your spirit is no excuse to defraud your husband ever. 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 After a period of time, a man's going to get tired of that. And he's going to go find somebody else. And you're going to go, oh, he's running around on me. But what did you do to prevent it? Were you a wife? Were you a submissive, obedient wife? What kind of wife were you? Did you give him reverence? Did you show him respect? Now look, I'm flesh just like you are. My husband is flesh just like your husband is flesh. And they that marry are what? They shall have trouble in the flesh. Big deal. That's common knowledge. If you marry, you're going to have some trouble. But how do you behave in abiding in your place, in maintaining and holding to your duties sober-minded, to keep things together as glue in your home? If you don't like the way things are going in your household, then I encourage you to develop the power of prayer. And get your heart right, keep your heart right, and don't let deep-rooted hurts become bitterness. And bitterness leads to hate. And before you know it, you are filthy and unclean in your heart, no matter what your husband does. No matter what your husband does. And we have one prime example, and we've read about her before, talked about her many times on this programming, and her name is Abigail. And she was married to a hard-hearted, stiff-necked, cruel man. But you didn't find her leaving him. You do find where she continued to do the right thing and made herself a virtuous woman, and Yahweh killed her husband. Yahweh killed him. This is not for you to have a hateful, evil heart in wishing that your husband were dead either. We're supposed to be clean heart, pure heart before Yahweh Almighty. Divorce should never exist. If your husband writes you a bill of divorcement, you're not under bondage if he finds uncleanness in you. Think about it. Think about it. All right, let's read some more. Let's go to the book of Mark. I don't think I'm going to have time to get into this. I might just kind of hold off on this. We might do part 2 next week because I really don't have time to get into this. But remember, the Hebrew root word for divorce, meaning destroy, kill, cut off. And a lot of divorces, again, that I have seen through the years are a never-ending funeral. Now, the word does give you, ladies, an option. There's a hint of hope for you women that's full of the Holy Spirit and you are married to a man that's unsaved. The scripture says that you can win your husband by your chaste conversation. This is not what comes out of your mouth conversation. This is your holy, strict, straight, reverent lifestyle that you live because you are dedicated and so in love with Yahweh Almighty and His Word that you're willing to abide within the boundaries of obedience, to reverence your husband, to submit to your husband in everything, mad or glad. We submit because it's Yahweh's Word. All right. If you want to know why the name of your God and Mashiach is only named Yahweh, please write to Jerry or Kathy. We mail out free audio CDs and scriptural literature on why your God and Mashiach is only named Yahweh. Again, write to Jerry or Kathy. Our mailing address is 775 McDonald Road. Again, 775 McDonald Road, Covington, Georgia. Covington, Georgia. That's the United States of America, Georgia. Our zip code is 30014. Again, 30014. Or we invite you to call us at 770-784-0703. That number again is 770-784-0703. If you have online access, we invite you to go to our website. You may watch my husband on his televised programming, teach from the King James Version and the Hebrew Scriptures how that the name of Yahweh has been removed from our King James Bible. So you may also re-listen to our radio programming. To access this site, go to www.Yahwah. You must spell Yahweh, Y-A-H-W-A-H. That's Yahweh, Y-A-H-W-A-H, with a little hyphen, Ministries.org. That web address again is Yahweh, Y-A-H-W-A-H, with a little hyphen, Ministries.org. The purpose of my programming is to provoke women to study. My husband asked me several years ago if I would do this, and so here am I. As I teach you, I learn. It reminds me, and believe me, the things that we go through are a reminder of what Yahweh did for us, so how much more should we want to abide within His boundaries of His Word, because we love Him and what He did for us. Until next week at the same time, shalom.